Hi, in this video we covering metadata events so that I can show you how you can connect flow with an external VMS system. Before we start and go into the flow, we should talk about in general the metadata event. These are access metadata event. Basically events that are happen on camera are transmitted in on-with standard via RTSP, so then a VMS system can trigger action based on the data it receives. There is some namings around that because you have in the Axis web interface, you have the rules, and there you have the events, and basically a metadata event and the event that you can select there is basically the same underlying event. So in the rule action engine on the access devices, you can select object analytics, for example, and in your VMS system, you also can configure or map an event based on the object analytics. So it's the same underlying kind of event, but generally it's a metadata event, and there are two main kind of these event types. When we are in the Axis world, and there are stateless events, that is a one-shot notification or a trigger. It has no persistent value. It's for events like motion started or a line is crossed or whatever. It has no state, just a trigger. And you have stateful events that have some state, like a door is open or closed, or the day-night mode on the camera is on or off. In the Axis event rule engine, when it's a stateful event, you can select record video while the event is active, and you can't do this with stateless events. So this was a short recap about metadata events, and there's also a very handy tool to inspect this metadata stream or these events. There is a tool called Axis Metadata Monitor, and you just connect your camera and you would see the kind of data that a VMS system receive, and we could inspect this. Here we have some events for virtual input, and you see there is a lot of stuff that is going on, and it's good for debugging. Maybe you don't know this tool exists, and basically with our flow we could subscribe to all these events and also can create these events. We are starting today from a blank state. I decide to have the use case that we have the custom requirements that we should combine two area countings from the object analytics to detect a crowded area. And for this, we of course need the cameras. We can discover them or manually add the cameras. I will do the discovery. I have two cameras already prepared for this. I configured the object analytics on both of them. So I need to get sure I select the correct ones. Then we add these two. So we have successfully added these two devices. The next step would be to subscribe. So we select the scenario 1. And for the second camera, we do this as well. So we do a little bit of clean up here because the name is just too long. And we are here have the data fields where we are interested in. That is the human account from this scenario and the human account from the other one. I already added here the metadata node for creating an event. I leave it for now here. Just I will show you here we have the two nodes. One is for create the events and the second one is for subscribe. I delete it for now. Just do a small test. Both are connected. We have no counts. I think I need to adjust my demo camera to get some. So now we have here some counts. And the other one is just empty because it's my camera, the garden, and there are no humans yet. But it should just demonstrate how easy it is to have two different cameras, and now we can starting combine this counts. The first step would be we need to add these two counts together. We use the node for adding something, so for adding numbers. We add both numbers. The math node has an execute input. It's to perform the operation, and in that case we have both. We have two of them. We should use an OR gate. Where we say when we have a new event on the first camera or a new event on the second camera, we do the operation, we add these two numbers together. And we could test this and we will see, okay, we have just one number here, but it's just to demonstrate you. The next step would be that the customer only wants to have this alert in the VMS system when it's bigger as 20 or so, yeah. So the next step would be we need to have a number to compare. So it's an integer input, where I say 20. Then I add a compare node to compare these two numbers, where I say greater or equal. And we would say 20 is greater than 24. And that's why we have here the true signal. So this true signal would now indicate if we have from both cameras more than 20 people, it's crowded. Let's say it like that. And now we create our event. The first step would be to name it. Yeah, it's just a name. And since it is either true or false, so it has a state, it would not be a stateless event, it would be a stateful event. And we are now creating here an input. Let's say it's a type of Boolean, either true or false. It has an initial value of false, no, and it's a data field. And you would be able to create events for multiple sources. Like if you would have multiple inputs, you can here say, okay, this input would be indicate the source, but in our case it's just data, and we give it a nice name, it's active. We would now need to connect our output to the active, and now we need to have a trigger when we send our event. And since we should always send it when we have a change, we need to map this done signal to the send. But in flow, we run in 50 milliseconds cycles. So each cycle evaluates this whole data. And when I have here the add, the next node that is evaluated would this one, and then this one comes. So maybe the done signal reach this send input before we have done the comparison. So we need to have something to trigger this send on the next cycle. And therefore we have the next cycle pulse. And this would be our final logic to send always the event when something has changed. And we should now see here some data. I need to press the play button. Then we can search, what was the name for it? And here we see the events. First we have an initialize. This is what it does with the default value. Then we see, okay, it says change it to 1. And we see on each time when it changes it, we get a new event. When we go now to the camera, we could use this event to trigger something, maybe to record the video while the rule is active. But we want to use this in a VMS system. So let me open the Camera Station Pro. Now we can add this. We want a device event. We need, of course, select the camera. Here we would already see the missing feature crowd widget, and we want to react on the active state. And this would be already give us the possibility to do something like recording. And now we have linked our flow with a VMS system, and basically you should have this possibility also in Milestone or other VMS systems to select just these events. And I think we covered the most important things around how to subscribe or create this kind of events, and wish you a nice day.